get started. Ladies, let's use tech to grab the world by the ovaries. Now we know when it comes to men, they use grab the world by the, and we do it the opposite way, all right? So my story starts with one particular day, a very historical day, when I was just hanging out in my room and my brother comes rushing in and he says, "Sheedia, you gotta see this." So I go out and I saw this. Lady Gaga arriving in an egg at the Grammys in 2011. My first thought was, weirdo. Then, nowadays, I get her. The reason is because, you see, this was me growing up. I grew up a very sheltered life. I grew up here on the island and in a very strong, tight-knit Christian community. Disney, Barbie, Simpsons, forbidden, that's the devil. Literally the devil, okay? So there was a lot of things that I wasn't allowed to do, be, speak, ask questions. That was really hard growing up because I'm a wild, free spirit type of person. So then, high school happened. Beterstuyvesant College, or at least how it used to be called here on the island. I would say high school was a very important place for me because I got to work with amazing teachers that really challenged me to use my voice and to speak my truth, which was required, technically. But also in high school is where I met Juffrouw Esch. She was our history teacher, and she didn't teach history in the fact of what happened or when it happened. It was more in the sense of why it happened. And in that class, I realized that there is a reason why our world is the way that it is today. There's a reason why poverty exists in certain places. There's a reason dictatorship happens over and over again in certain places, etc. Then, this happened. The first crack in my egg. There's a reason the world is the way it is. So then after high school, I did not go to the Netherlands or stayed here at Una as the average person. Instead, I wanted to make a difference in the world. And I did it the only way I knew how at the time, which was to become a missionary. Eventually, I found myself in Uganda. You see me and my cracked egg there? In Uganda. And we were playing with children a lot. But aside from that, we also worked with an orphanage for babies and painted schools. And basically, we were helping wherever it was needed. I see you're looking at me. I'm like the one with the hands up over there, like right behind the yellow ball. But an interesting thing happened in Uganda. In between villages, there was a part where we were stopped to visit a particular village. Not because they needed our help, but because they wanted to show us something. And when we got there, we found a village of women that were taught to use microeconomy. And basically, they were taught to take what they have available to work with other villages in order to thrive. And when I mean thrive, we were in different villages and we saw people struggling to eat and have a life. But these particular women were thriving. And I thought back home, here. Not only here, the Americas, the Western world, where we have so many resources, but yet so many of us are just surviving and not thriving, right? And in there came the second crack. It's all about being resourceful. It's not about having all the resources. We hear it all the time, Curacao is so small. Yeah, but we also have a lot of resources. And I feel like the speakers in the past few days have really demonstrated that in a very beautiful way. Then, that happened. I was literally sitting there freezing. Can you imagine how I felt at minus 26 Celsius? This was me in Lakeside, Montana. The states in the US that nobody talks about, in a city where nobody lives. There's a lot of snow though. I was there to study dance with the missionary organization that I worked with. And part of the dance curriculum, we had to take anatomy. As you can see, we got very comfortable with each other's bodies in an anatomy class. But what sticks out is the lady with the gray hair. Her name is Susan. And she was the teacher of anatomy. She told us her story while we were there. Susan was a budding interior designer with amazing business that had everything on the outside in LA. So you can imagine what kind of luxury life she lived. At 40 years of age, Susan decided to leave that luxurious life and to do what really made her happy. She moved to Montana and studied to become a chiropractor for 4 years. When I met her, she was 50 years old and as happy as ever. It taught me another lesson, or the third crack. You're never too late to create the life you desire. And this might seem like, oh, she's saying that she's not that old. Yeah, I know. But at 18, I thought I was too old. At 21, when I met Susan, I wasn't studying. I wasn't getting a university degree, so I thought I was too old, etc., etc., etc. But it's important to remember, you're never too late to create the life you desire. Then boom. Sheedia hatched. A bit differently than Lady Gaga. You know, she had like a little electrical thing with the AI people who created it for her. Mine was a little bit messier. But I hatched realizing that I had a voice, that I could make anything out of my life, that I have a message, that I am way more powerful than I thought I was, and that I want to help others make their dreams come true. This is something that I'm extremely passionate about. As soon as somebody gives me some reason why they can't do something, I'll be like, I'm calling BS on that. You can do it, okay? Let's find a way to make it happen. But knowing what I knew, I wanted to make my dreams come true, which is to become a digital nomad and to create that life. So I created a YouTube channel broadcasting Curacao. I showed around the island. This particular video is my most popular video. And I got sponsorship by the Curacao Tourism Board, meaning that I could pretty much replace my salary, stay at home, make videos, have fun. The videos right now they have over 450,000 views, which means I'm nearing the 500,000 mark. And high ranks in Google. A lot of people have seen that with the kids winning World Series. This video has just skyrocketed again. But it's 4 or 5 years old, right? Eventually, I had to deal with some personal issues, which I'm very open about, but I won't go into details with that because I was told I only have 15 minutes. But you may be wondering, so what do you do now? Now I am an online business coach for online coaches, and I teach women how to start their online business. I have clients in Japan, Romania, different states in the US, Canada. I've worked with people in Australia, many different places around the world. I built the whole business from my home here in Curacao, and I wanted to really pinpoint that it is possible, right? And I don't have a fancy office or anything, like a computer. I can broadcast a training live at any time. I sometimes do that in my pajama. Actually, nowadays I do it every morning in my pajamas. But it's possible from home. And I can speak to a group of people easily, with each person being in their home in different parts around the world. Right? So one thing I wanted to pinpoint is what tech I use, because a lot of the tech that I use is free of charge, and that all of us have access to it. So take out your phones if you need to take a picture. I'm going to go quick about this, because it's just personal. Facebook, you got that, right? Instagram, Zoom, which is a platform that is not as popular if you're not in that online world, but it helps you have online conferences and connect with people in a group form or even one-on-one. Email marketing, you can get started for free. There's something called MailChimp. I do podcasting, Voxer, which is an application where it's a walkie-talkie app, and that's what I use to stay in contact with my clients all the time. Messenger, I really don't like to send emails because you gotta be a little bit more professional and start with, "Dear Hupplepup, blah, 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 blah. With kind regards, Sheedia Jansen." I bypass all that and just use Messenger. I use a transcription service called otter.ai, meaning that I can just speak like this and see the text happen on screen. In fact, when I was preparing for this, I just spoke in my mirror and let the computer transcribe it. So where I wanted to edit, I could see it written on the screen and be like, hey, this could be taken out, and I had to take out a lot because I could talk for hours. Trello, which helps you organize your notes. Teachable, this is a service where you can host online courses. WordPress websites. And is that it? Oh. And a DSLR camera. That's all of it. And again, as I said, most of these are free of charge to start out with. Of course, there's a paid version, there's premium always. But just wanted to point out that it doesn't take too much. You don't need to learn R, which I am going to learn, by the way. You don't need to do all the programming and all those things if that's not something that you are naturally gifted in. Of course, you can also hire people to do that. So that's just what I use. What did I say here? I changed someone's life. I can change people's life with just that basic things and coming and do it from my home. So wherever you are, whether you are still in that full egg or you've hatched like I have, there's always more. And that is something that I want you to remember, that there is always more. You don't have to settle, especially settling because we live on an island. You don't have to. There's always more you can achieve. So what is holding us back? Specifically women, and it counts for men as well. But what's holding us back is the limiting beliefs. Like Olga did is, help us connect to where we want to go. But what's standing in our way from where we are and where we want to go is our limitations, our beliefs that are created in our mind. Because if it's true that we can all become resourceful enough to create what we want, then it's just our mind that's standing in our way. Common female limiting beliefs that I see all the time. Again, some of these count for males as well. I am not good enough, which was a huge one that I had to overcome. If you listened closely to what Daisy said, she basically said, I just had to overcome the fear, which is true. That it's not appropriate for a woman to do something, anything, that I cannot have it all, that I don't have the education, or that I don't know the right people. I mean, you could use her app for that. But again, these are all things that we create in our mind. If we decide that we want to overcome these, we can. And a good majority of my coaching, business coaching, is not really the strategy. Because we're smart. We are awesome people. We are so empowered nowadays that you can look up very quickly how to start an online business and how to make it succeed. What people lack is actually the guts and the ovaries to go for it, right? And I wanted to introduce this concept of higher and higher. And again, it's all about the mind, and it doesn't matter whether you think you are down here in the world, or in this room, or in Curacao, or if you think you are up here. Regardless of where you think you are, there's always higher and higher that you can go. And we tend to limit ourselves sometimes even when we achieve a certain goal. Either you achieve the financial, scholarship goal, education goal, whatever that is, you might think, oh my God, I reached it. But I want to challenge you to go higher and higher. And one way that I even do this is with my hands sometimes. These are just like my little tricks, right? And I literally go like this, higher and higher, higher and higher. And whenever I feel like, that I feel stuck or that I've reached enough, I keep on going higher and higher. Another part that I wanted to hit on is that women are intuitive. And this is not only women, it's also men. But they call this part the female energy, the female way of doing things. Some women are more intuitive than others, and some men are more intuitive than some women. But in the world that we live in, it's a very male-dominated world where intuition, things like that are seen as woo-woo, not important, not being able to, not measurable, etc., etc. But if we use that intuition to our advantage, we can make decisions that actually propel us forward. And women, this is our strong point. Ignoring it is not a good idea. So I built my business using intuition. So many times I tell people my ideas and they're like, that don't make no sense. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you doing this first? Why aren't you doing that first? But from the moment I left high school to this moment, every single decision that you saw me make based on that little history, it's all been very intuitive because I believe that there is power in that. And for so many years, it's been seen as not important. So tech is a great resource. And I just wanted to reiterate that in this particular instance. That's a word I always struggle with. Iterate. I said it once, I can't say it again. We can broadcast our message to the world. As I said, I do that in my pajamas all the time. We can learn anything using tech. We can create anything. And we can connect with anyone. And that's a beautiful thing. Especially, again, coming from such a small island, this has opened up the world to us. We no longer have to travel to different places in order to get things done. You can sit in your room and do it. It doesn't mean that I'm discrediting travel because traveling is super important. It's mind-opening and an amazing experience. But at the same time, through tech, you can do that in your room or in your pockets with your phones. And again, we're talking about failures, the Mac and the Windows conversion. But it doesn't need to be complicated when it comes to using tech. It really doesn't. As I mentioned, there are so many things that can help you, and it doesn't need to cost an arm and a leg. And so I just wanted to go back to the cracks in my egg to remind you of them. There's a reason the world is the way it is, but it doesn't have to stay that way. We could change the world to your life. There's a reason your life is the way it is, but it doesn't have to stay that way. You have the power in your hands. It's all about being resourceful, again, not about having all the resources. And you're never too late to create the life that you desire, okay? So my message, my personal message, this is what I live about, it's what I call my purpose and what I feel like I was born here to do, because I've been doing this since I was a little girl, is we can all experience freedom by challenging the norm. This is my message. The question is, what is your message? Right? What is that message inside of you that you want the world to know? What is it that makes you different? What makes you special? And start there, and from there decide, maybe I want to create an app, maybe I want to create a product, maybe I want to go work at a certain company, or maybe I just want to chill for a little bit before I continue. There is no right or wrong to that. But whatever you do, make sure you use tech to grab the world by the ovaries. And once you do, you hatch.